Good morning to everyone. Whoop whoop. Good morning. Woo! Woo! Who can hear me? Lordy have mercy. I hope you all can hear me. Tell me. Say yes, Lazy Joy. Woo! You do got to get you some, Axie. Everybody got to get some of this morning, y'all. It has been, I'm surprised my hair isn't standing on end like a porcupine because the electricity that's going through my office today, you can't, I got nothing. I can't even describe it. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Oh, good. Thank you, Gypsy Nana. I think, let me see if I turn this down just a tad, if I can get a little bit of that reverb out of there. Got my motor running, head out on the highway. Maureen is born to be wild. Get it, Maureen. Yeah, baby. Heck to the yes, y'all. Let me tell you something. They're, for real, up in my office today. Just so you know, it has been... Broadway has come through here this morning. Disco has come through here this morning. And now Maureen is bringing the classics back. Got my motor running. Get out on the highway. That's all the angst I had as a kid. I used to sing as a kid. That was one of the best songs to get all your angst out when you're on a stage, right? And then do a shot of water, of course. Not true. I can tell y'all everything there is to know about tequila. That's my favorite drink, or used to be. Now my favorite drink is anything that doesn't light up my autoimmunes. Which is not, it's fun, but it's not fun. But here's the thing, y'all. No joke. So I've had this song. I might as well just get it out of the way because let me just get it started. Oh, wait, I got to do all my housekeeping. First of all, if you all like the content that I produce here, or maybe even if you don't, because, all press is good press, right? So it would be wonderful if you could help a sister and her animals out by sharing whatever video you're called to share, or, whatever messages, you're called to share on your social media. I would really love, the Animal Allies would really love it if you would help us expand our work, because just the crazy magic and healing and readings, and I wish I could share all the emails and messages and everything I get from you all every day and every week, because miracles are happening every day, and that's all I have to say. So also, if you like this content, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. Hit the little ringy bell thingy dingy and get your alerts. And as always, it would be awesome if you joined the free forums that I have, wildpackwisdom.com/forums. That would be super awesome. And let me tell you guys how Wednesdays are going to work, which I thought I was clear on until this morning. And it's still kind of the same, but it's gone so much deeper. I guess I should have known that or expected that, but it didn't work out quite that way. So I was called to do Healing Wednesdays. Now, let's be clear. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a medical professional of any kind. I'm not diagnosing anybody. This is all metaphysical in nature, and it's energetic in nature. And so there you go. There's my medical disclaimer and my responsibility disclaimer. So having said that, let me say this. I couldn't figure out why the Animal Allies wanted me to do this on a Wednesday, on a hump day. And then they told me this morning, they're like, Bernadette, hello. It's the bridge day. It's the bridging the gap day between what could be healed and what is not healed. We're bridging a gap. We've got, dirt. Okay, I get it. So the other thing that I said for you all last week is that on Wednesdays and Fridays, each hump day, it's a middle day, Jackie. You'd have to look it up. It's a hump day. I don't know the etymology of that, actually. Good morning, Amy. Oh, and also thank you to my moderators. Maureen, thank you so much. Teapot, thank you so much. Teapot, I didn't expect you here this morning, and so it's so nice to see you. Thank you. And Maureen, as always, thank you. Amy, woot woot. And it's because camels have humps, or I don't know. Look, you know what? That's a good question. I'll look that up, because now you got my mind spinning. And so, Lisa, thank you. Oh, y'all, listen. See, I told Y'all, it's crazy up in here this morning. So, y'all, on Sunday, if you see Lisa Snyder Integrative Healing, I'm so excited. She made a special healing session of her doing for everybody who's watching it, which, you know, anybody who will ever watch it, I consider in the wild pack, but certainly especially for you all that, you know, subscribe and show up every week and all that kind of thing, which I'm so very grateful for. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so on Sunday, for the Sunday ceremony, I'm going to do a short interview with Lisa so that we can get the backstory on this, because I've been around the block. I've seen a lot of different kinds of healing and a lot of different methods and madness and just all kinds. I've never seen anything like what Lisa does. She channels ancient languages. She channels the ancients, and it's this. I got nothing. I don't even really know how to describe it. She'll have to describe it for you, but it's sound healing. But it's also like, if you know anybody, or maybe you do channel light languages, like for real channel the light languages. It's speaking a different language that she's never spoken before. She don't know anything about these languages, but sweet bejeebus, it's amazing. So, y'all, please, and I'm going to send it out in a newsletter Thursday for everybody to watch and everybody to get to, because again, you've never seen anything like what Lisa does. She's amazing at it. And the other thing is, it's so powerful that you just can't miss it. And it's something you can come back to time and again, because, and we're going to talk about that today, your healing starts with you. What is it that you want to heal? What is it that you want to accomplish? And so, all that being said, because the intention with her healing that she recorded for us, you know, everybody in the wild pack, it's specific. The intention is specifically for you. And what that means is, yes, a healing can be put out there, but what are the intentions behind that healing? And that actually has a lot to do with what we're getting to today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you all the card and the animal for today. And then I'm going to take time and take a deep dive into the animal, into the card, and into the chakra. The card will come last. The chakra will come right after the animal, because today is, let me just get there. Today it is white. Now, and we're going to talk about this. Today it is white buffalo, which is in my deck, which is what I read from. What the heck is the name? What the heck is the name of my deck? Oh, there it is, right up there. There, the Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle deck, and so my deck is based on the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot system, right? Gotta love me some Pamela Coleman. And so it has, you know, you can ascribe the traditional meanings of each tarot card, and you can fuse the animal magic and medicine in with it, or you can read just the animals, or read with just the, you know, just the tarot portion of it, use it as oracle cards. I use them a lot for healing, right? A lot for healing. And so without further ado, let me just say, I just got to get the I just gotta get this out of my system, because the minute this card came out, and I was like, oh, that's a root chakra card. Here's all I could hear. Because it's all about that bass, no treble. I'm all about that bass, no treble. I'm all about that bass, no treble. I'm all about that bass. You know, and then she got, oh, it's pretty clear, I ain't no size 2, but I can shake it like I'm supposed to do. Gotta love that song. I can't listen to it. I have to like forget that it exists, because you know how like 2 or 3 or 4 year olds will watch the same movie over and over and over again? I'll listen to that song 25 times before I can put it away. So, all right, y'all sing it with me, because I'm all about that bass, All right, so here's the story. So, Jackie, I just saw I'm going to keep my eyes off of y'all, because I want to get in and play and have fun, and I do want to answer questions, but I really need to focus on this. So, so how today is going to work is that this is a reading for everyone, and what that is asking you to do is trust in the divine. Trust that if you have tuned in for today, this is exactly the animal, exactly the card, exactly the chakra, exactly the message you need to hear for right now. Well, here's the thing about that. So, the Ace of Pentacles is, you know, again, it's very root chakra oriented, because it is about your foundations, your beliefs about money, your beliefs about abundance, your beliefs about power. And you know what? Actually, let's just start with the root chakra, since I just need to get the all about my base, all about that base out of my head. So um, we're gonna go into the root chakra meaning, and then we're gonna build up from there, which to me makes sense because the root chakra is, of course, the foundation of everything. So when you are talking about, root chakra, which the Sanskrit name is Muladhara, and you're talking about that chakra, it's very much about, again, your foundations, your core beliefs, and that's carried over, I believe, from lifetimes. Certainly that is what happens, in your life, early in your life, in this dimension, in this reality. And it's where the seat of your fight, flight, or freeze is. Now, we we can have a really fractured, damaged, muddy, um, needs to be healed root chakra, even if we don't know it. Now, the root chakra, or the Muladhara color, is of course red, and its mantra is like or om, and the motto is I am. And again, it can become problematic even when you don't know it. But my gosh, if I could just tell you the amount of people that I've read that, well, I just had a gal a couple weeks ago. She called and she wanted insight to a particular situation, and I said, that's not the issue. And she said, well, yes, it is. And then she was like, I'm pretty sure I know what I need to know. And I'm like, I absolutely agree. What the issue is that you you haven't seen yet why you're having this issue, and how can you solve an issue unless you know why you're having it. And so it actually went to her root chakra, and she was like, oh my god, that's exactly how I've been my whole life. I just didn't. And then she started connecting the dots. I watched her mind go, and she started to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And she literally called me just a couple days ago, and she was like, my God, that was the most, thank you. That was not the reading I expected, but it was beyond the reading that I needed. And that problem solved. So one of the things that I was shown this morning, because the intention going into this Wednesday for all of you Wild Pack is, of course, that, you know, that anything that you hear, anything you experience during this is meant for your healing. So when we're talking about root chakra healing, root chakra clearing, root chakra balancing, root chakra alignment, one of the best things you can do for yourself is to really maybe start to notice where your fears are triggering you, or what's triggering your fears, and then try to backtrack it to your root chakra. Case in point, I just got shown this morning. I couldn't believe it. I could not, of all the years, I couldn't believe it. So I was sitting a little bit thinking about the root chakra, and how best to kind of explain what was coming to me, which is, you may know where your fears come from. You may know where your drive comes from. You may know a lot of things about your root chakra, but it's what if you don't? What if you have things going on in your life and you're like, I'm a conscious liver. I create my own reality. How is this going on? Because I think we all have that happen, right? No matter how conscious we are and how intentionally we try to live. So I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I was shown in my childhood, our little teeny tiny trailer, and it was like two o'clock in the morning or something. And y'all, I had night terrors as a kid. I mean, night terrors, terrors. And I was convinced, I was terrified of the dark mostly. And I was just convinced that when the lights went out, that all of a sudden, bad things filled up in my bedroom. And my mom just couldn't convince me otherwise. And little did she know at the time, I really did have visions and I really did see things. Now, why they were dark at that time, it wasn't always about the darkness or things that people would be afraid of, but for a while it was. And so I just remembered this time, when I was like crying and I was really upset and I was freaked out. And she came in and she flipped on the light and she said, listen, Bernadette, it is 2 o'clock in the morning. I have got to get some sleep. I have got to be up at 5. And then it was, if I oversleep, this bad will happen. If I don't make it to work, we won't make it till the end of the month. That was always what she used to say. We won't make it till the end of the month. To a child, and what I knew she meant by that was, we'll run out of food, because that was true. I won't be able to get to work. I won't be able to afford gas. I mean, it was on and on and on. And you know, I didn't remember that until just this morning. And I remember as a kid, what it cemented in me was, you can't be fearful. Because if you're fearful, you don't eat. You don't have a roof over your head. That's it. Your whole world ends. Because we won't make it, and your root chakra is your survival chakra. That's where you either are a survivor or you're not. You either want to be a survivor and you buck up and you figure out what to heal, what to strengthen, what to get rid of, what to clear, what to balance, what to align, yak, 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 yak. But that's it. It's your root chakra. Well, lo and behold, right? Exactly. More basic needs. Right. Exactly, Jackie or Jacqueline. I keep seeing your name as Jacqueline Helper instead of Hepler. So I'm just going to call you, as evidenced by your your post there in the chat, that you are a helper. So I'm just going to call you Jacqueline Helper. And yeah, it's where the fundamentals are. Think of it like, you know, if it's the basement of your house, every other chakra is built upon that. I like to think of the root chakra as the very last turtle in the turtles all the way down. That's the chakra. That's the turtle that supports all of the other turtles that go up. That's how I've always associated it with that, right? So when we talk about you know, the root chakra, it's also your early warning system. It's and no surprise that the color is red. Warning, warning, danger, danger. And that's, you know, no matter how spidey sensed out you are in your crown chakra, in your third eye, your solar plexus. I talk about the solar plexus a lot being your second brain, because that's your gut. It's very much considered the second brain because of all the neurons and the this and the that. And there's actually there's a pretty credible and large body of evidence that would say a lot of times what you think, where you receive information, is in your gut first, and then the information travels up to your brain in some way. Now, I'm not saying like your reasoning skill, you know, your math skills and that kind of thing, but the gut and the brain work together in some of the most miraculous ways that we're just now, you know, coming to know. So it is, you know, also the root chakra is the foundation of your sexuality, your sacred sexuality. And it's the first, you know, the first part of the Kundalini, you know, the little energy snake that is all coiled up inside of you. So any issues that you might have, and when I say issues, I want to be clear. I mean overactive, underactive, not activated. And when you talk about, you know, the I am, or that survival thing, or, you know, anything like that, you know, I always think only you can decide what's overactive, uh, and what's underactive, and what is just stalled out, which is just stagnant in all of those areas. So some of the things that you know, can do to heal, you know, or clear out your root chakra is, first of all, get moving. You've got to get, you know, movement is life. And in the American culture today, you know, and actually they're reporting this in places where, you know, like India and China, and, you know, Japan, where there are just hundreds and thousands, if not millions, of people that are working customer service, or they are, you know, doing things with computer, that they're sitting for such long periods of time. You know, that's not going to help. That's going to decrease your libido. If you experience sciatica, varicose veins, foot problems, constipation, it's very much related to immune disorders, says the person who is, you know, working to heal her own autoimmune disorders. But that's also, again, because it's the I am, the root chakra, you know, its meaning and its symbolism. Think of it, you know, the symbol for that is the lotus flower opening. And so if you've got that root chakra clamped down, that's not helpful, right? So you don't have to do a marathon. You don't have to become like, you know, an Olympic trainer or Olympic runner or Olympic rower or Olympic anything. You just gotta get going, right? So the other thing that I can say is, ooh, Nikki, of course you wrote this and I saw it. Nikki Anderson. Nikki Anderson! Uh, you got a spontaneous Kundalini awakening. I'm going to have to hear that story one day. I guess it could be spontaneous. It certainly could trigger. It certainly could. I would kind of laugh, but I guess it certainly could. So, all of that said, the other thing you want to know is that, you know, uh, the red, well, there are also other names for it. So the Sanskrit name is the Muladhara Chakra. Some people call it the Red Chakra. Some people call it the Root Chakra. Some people call it the Base Chakra. Some people call it the First Chakra. And it's all of those things, right? It's all of those things. And again, I want to go back to the lotus because it's a 4-petaled lotus and it's got a yellow square at the middle. And when usually you'll see the Sanskrit name written in gold. Usually, I mean, you know, listen, the you know, artwork about the chakras abounds, and I think it's some of the most beautiful artwork I've ever seen in my life. And so it is, you know, if you think of also the inverted red triangle that's in it, which is, you know, pointing to the seat of the Kundalini, you've just got so much symbolism wrapped up in that I'm a big fan of altars. I'm a big fan of ceremony. I'm a big fan of ritual. Anything, any intention that you want to set around the root chakra, to heal it, to cleanse it, to balance it, to activate it. And, you know, listen, there are about 1 billion mantras that you can chant, or you can, you know, you can write with intention and keep it with you. I mean, setting an intention and moving energy through something, you know, but I would really encourage, there's like 1 billion ways to do it. I'm a big fan of whatever each chakra's mantra is, to start with that mantra. So with the root chakra, the base chakra, you know, the mantra is I am. So make declarative statements in your intentions or your daily affirmations, that kind of thing. I am safe and secure in my own energy. I am strong and can support myself. I am ridding myself, or I am rid of anger, fears. And, you know, you can even thank the anger and the fears for their information, for what they taught you, and you can bless and release them. And you say, you know, I now release them into the universe. Their job is done. I tend not to, you know, I tend to just give ideas for these kinds of things rather than specifically say this, because the spoken word is, well, it's so powerful. So it is, your own words are going to be more powerful than if you say my words or anyone else's words, unless because they come from the deepest part of you. Now, having said that, there are certainly people that they don't feel comfortable doing that, and if you have a fear or an uncomfortableness about writing your own mantras or prayers or affirmations or, you know, chants, then find the words. You know, there are a gajillion forms of these kinds of chants and mantras and so on and so forth across the internet, a jillion of them. You could even take 4 or 5 and piece and parts them together to make to make what resonates with you, to heal that part of your root chakra. Really bring, okay, Jeanette Sandra, it's the same picture as 50,000 other people. Hold on, y'all. I got to block this chucklehead. Hold on. And that's why they call it psychic. I haven't been paying attention to the chat so much until I saw that. I would have thought I wouldn't have had to just say this. Y'all listen. No, none of my people are ever going to say, you know, please inbox me for your reading, so on and so forth. If it smells suspicious, it's suspicious, because none of my people do that. So, ooh, Nikki, your Kundalini awakening after I saw a video about Nikola Tesla and the 369 pattern. That's nuts. I just said in a, I don't even remember what video it was, like a week ago or so. I talked about I'm studying all that kind of stuff right now, and how 369 is, you know, any derivative of 3 are the numbers of the universe, and doggone it, oh goodness. Yes, TTF, I absolutely, I would use my drum to open the root chakra, which is actually where I was going in just a second, was sound. So thank you for the reminder of that. What's your name again? TTF, whoever you really are. TTF, yes, I absolutely would. And you could use any musical instrument. You could use a sound bowl. You could use a singing bowl. You could sing yourself, because if you love to sing, even if you, oh my gosh, there's the perfect thing for this, because if you all go over to the forums, I'm having this conversation with one of our members, Ravenheart, and this person asked about a dream, and I was like, oh, okay. And I stepped into the energy of the dream, and all the symbols talked to me and told me what that was about for her. So I interpreted that dream, wrote, you know, and I don't even know that it's a her. It could be a guy. I don't know that once you sign up under whatever your username is, I got nothing. So I wrote it, and Ravenheart responded, you know, this was accurate, this was accurate, this was accurate. And one of those things was about losing the will to want to sing. And in the reading, well, it wasn't really a reading, it was just responding to a question on the forums. I could feel that that block right there. But where that block stemmed from, if we had gone into a conversation about the root causation of that, it's the tremendous loss of the support system surrounding this person all at one time. I mean, like, woke up and so many people were gone, right? Right there. That's the stability, that's the support, and it just ripped right out from under this person. But that's how having, you know, a muddy root chakra, or you know, a damaged root chakra, or not balanced or not aligned root chakra, that's certainly one of the ways that it can affect you, because it's the foundation for everything else, right? So, okay, I've had a couple of people IM me, and now there are people asking. So hold on, hold on. Okay, not as clear of a sound as it could be, but I just feel like maybe I should just grab it off of the stand and just beat the drum for a little while. And y'all, that dream talks to me in my sleep. I literally went on a journey with my drum 2 nights ago in a dream. But anyway, so so all of that said, it is, yeah, Mystic with the lipstick. You keep having dreams of your fiance cheating and abandoning you with the kids, right? There you go. That is root chakra related. So, for anybody who is watching this video not live, but you're, you know, today is in June 2021, but you may be watching this video in June 2030. That's entirely possible. What I will say to you is, it's the divine timing. You were supposed to see this video, and you were supposed to see any kind of questions people asked me at the time of filming about the root chakra and anything else that we're going to talk to today. And also, interestingly enough, this person, let me get back to the forums for a second. This person, Ravenheart, I just love it, because this person said, I can't carry a tune in a bucket, but I love to sing. That is the sign of a healthy, free, you know, just a free spinning, beautiful, beautiful color red or even hot pink chakra. Just doing something from the pure love of it, coming from the root of it. And so, I just want to say also very quickly, the tonal, getting back to the sound healing and chakras, the tone, y'all, just so you know, I know there are a lot of really, really good books out there on chakras. I just really happen to love this one, The Essence of Sound by Evelyn Mulders. She's Canadian. Not that that matters, but she's like a big whoopty Canadian chakra sound healing. Well, she's really a sound healing person. But I just love her book. the information in it is pretty amazing. And really, if you just look at it artistically, it's kind of cool because the pages are color coded. You can just flip to whatever chakra or whatever you want. But she says that the sound of the root chakra is C, and I love that. And of course, I would say that chakra light healer, light workers and chakra healers and that kind of thing agree that, the root chakra will affect your adrenals. So if you're like all depleted out, it's your root chakra is drained. I mean, we could have story time. You guys could go get in your jammies and I could just read to you from this book because it's just so full of information. But the final thing that I want to say about a root chakra and how to heal it and balance it. Again, I want to say that when you talk about root chakra, Muladhara Chakra, base chakra, whatever symbolism meaning, yes, it's where your fears are. Yes, it's where your fight, flight, or, freeze comes from. But one of the biggest things that can be just, man, it can go badly in a root chakra is trust. Now, that goes both ways. Maybe you have trust issues. That's your root chakra. Maybe you overly trust. Well, that'd be a toss-up whether it's your root chakra, that you're too confident in your own ability to smell out the BS, or you're so imbalanced in your heart chakra that you trust too easily, especially as it comes to love, or you're imbalanced in your solar plexus chakra because your gut, you don't listen to your gut, right? That kind of thing. Because I'm telling you, the universe will tell you every time. It will danger, Will Robinson. I actually read a book, and then I'm going to wrap this up here, and I'm going to go on to the White Buffalo, and we're going to talk about that because that's some craziness here this morning. There's a book, can't remember this fellow's name, but he is literally the world expert on abduction, of why people get abducted, how they can avoid it. He teaches military and medical and armed persons around the world about this. He speaks about this, and you'd think I could remember this guy's name, but he says every single victim of an abduction or where harm came to them, they knew there was something wrong. They knew it, and they didn't listen to their gut. Every single one of them. Now, my contention is for the root chakra, base chakra, the whole 9 yards, to have it be balanced is to be in a place of trust, which is with yourself, whatever your belief system is, God, the universe, whatever. I have to have a tremendous amount of trust when I step out every day and do public readings, public healings. I have to be in that because people, just like you, if you're a reader, or you're a healer, really whatever it is you do, people are trusting you to know. People are trusting you to get answers that they may not be able to see for themselves, hear for themselves, experience themselves in the moment. And so it is, it's like, it's a big leap of faith when I just go, okay, well, I know the animal allies will help. I got a thing going on, y'all. This book is starting to be like the Ark. It already has expanded twice, so it's 702 pages, and then I'm up to like, oh my gosh, it might be 750 pages if I go with everything that I think that I should put in there. 750 pages. I don't mind it. I'm happy to disseminate the information, but 750 pages, y'all. And so a few people asked me, because I put a note about it on the forums, wildpackwisdom.com/forums. I was like, hey, y'all, what would you think about a 750-page book? And I put it out on my Facebook page, and people were like, oh my God, are you kidding me? The more the merrier, blah, blah, blah. I was so supportive. So figure out who you trust, who you don't trust, including yourself. Figure out who you trust too much, including yourself. And that's one of the best ways to balance out and heal and align your root chakra. Now, you can't align your root chakra unless the others are in alignment, but that's where it starts, I think. I can't prove that, and it may be different for everybody. Some people may need to start at the bottom and go up. Some people may be like, ooh, I'm going to balance and align and do this for my heart chakra today. It's kind of like if you're doing graphic work, you know, and you're like, oh, okay, well, that image is right in the center. I'll get to centering the other images when I get to it, but I'm going to do these pieces parts first. It's like that. So, all right. So I'm going to take a sippy sip of water because now we're going to talk about white buffalo, white bison. I hope that was helpful, by the way, with your root chakra. And, you know, I know many of you in the wild pack are already hip to these things, but there are an equal amount of folks that just they don't know. Like, they just don't know. They haven't gotten there yet in their, you know, in their studies, in their metaphysical or spiritual or, you know, whatever studies or experiences. And so, I know, right, Lisa? Look at y'all. I'm telling you, this book, and it's put out by my friend Karen Stuth, who owns Satyama Publishing, and she and Evelyn just won a whole bunch of awards for her herbal tarot deck, and she just like got all kinds of awards at the Cover Awards, which is where the ARC was named not only Product of the Year but Gold of the Year, blah blah blah. I mean, on and on and on. And it's just, I love it because it's a quick reference guide, and I'm really into that. I'm just really into, okay, give me the sound bites of it. And I love it because she correlates it with the y'all, with sound, with crystals, with whatever. And let me just say this about crystals and the root or base chakra. Bernadette is all about integrative healing, integrative readings, integrated everything. I've just always found that if you just have one very, this is it, this is what this means, you miss again the connecting the dots. Like this morning, I had a huge realization about my own thing, because I've always had an overactive root chakra. Part of that I'll leave out of this morning. But the bigger part of that is, well, no wonder. You know, I love what I do, but it's a fact, man. It's a fact. I'm a workaholic. It's a slap fact. It doesn't bother me any, but it bothered my husband's, it bothered my friends, it bothers my family. It's not that I don't love them more than I love my work, or it's not that at all. I'd take a bullet for any one of them, 2, 10, 20, and I mean that. But I just love what I do. But when you think about it, I've got an overactive root chakra, and I was just told why this morning. I've been asking for the reason why, and now I know. Somewhere in the vestiges of deep in my root chakra, I'm like, I gotta survive, and I'm a triple Mars energy. I'm like, gotta do the fight, gotta live another day to fight, blah, blah. Okay, I'm gonna work on that because I want to. But let me go back to the crystals. So obviously the element of the root chakra is earth, but the, you know, crystals that you can work with to heal it, some people will tell you just work with the you know, just work with the red crystals, bloodstone, garnet, you know, because it does correlate to blood, even though it's not red. You know, it's a green stone with flecks in it, garnet, ruby. But I'll tell you that you should work with any crystal. Well, not you should, but it's very helpful. It could be very helpful to you if you'll just figure out what you want to heal about a chakra and then pick the corresponding stone. And if you want to pair the corresponding stone, like, you know, let's say that you're working on issues with protection, you could snatch up a hematite, and, you know, you could pair that with a ruby or a garnet or anything super red, or even hot pink, not light pink, I think, but hot pink. And that's it. Call it a day. You know, you don't have to just stick with the red crystals. The other thing that people will tell you is in ritual and ceremony or healing sessions is you want to light a candle that's the same color of that chakra. Again, I'm all about holistic healing. So sure, light a red candle, but then light a candle that also symbolizes, you know, the magic or the medicine or the healing or whatever it is that you're trying to accomplish. Don't come at it from just one angle. Okay, enough about the root chakra. I really hope that was helpful. So, moving on to the buffalo. Okay, listen, y'all. Man, I hope you're hanging in there with me. I know some people will have clicked off because I'm not telling them about their love life today, or so they think I'm not telling them about their love life. But I'm going to say it again. Whatever card or chakra or aura or whatever comes out on these these Healing Wednesdays, that's meant for you at this moment, based on whatever is most in your heart, on your mind, on your spirit. That's it. And rather than just giving y'all, hey, this is what this means, and this is what this means, and I'm feeling this, because we could be done with that in 10 minutes. I prefer, and I prefer, because y'all have told me you prefer, when we take the deep dive in it, which I love about the Wild Pack, because that means y'all are in it to win it. You're in it to win it. You're not just getting the sound bites and pretending that, you're all up in the metaphysics or you're all up in your spirituality. You're serious about it. You're committed to your healing. You're committed to the work that you're doing in the world. You're committed to showing up in the world, just doing and being better. I'll support that all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. So, yeah. Okay, so let me just check this real quick. I have my mom. Oh, girl, septic. Oh my gosh, Stephanie, girl. All right, moving on to one of my favorite animals. Whether they're white or purple with purple polka dots, I love me some buffalo bison. Now, let me just explain this card. So, thank you, Nikki. We're mermaids together, Nikki. We're deep diving into every dang thing. Okay, so Amy J. Pittman, you know you needed to hear that, girl. Don't make me... Mama, don't preach. Bum, 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 bum. Mama Bear, don't preach. But I have to, because you're my daughter. So, and I'm gonna see you later today. You don't want to see you later today. You don't want me to be all up in your face, Amy, about your root chakra. So, because you know what I call it in private. So anyway, here's the story. All right, so I get a lot of flack about this card. Yes, I do. Why, Bernadette, you of all people, would you label this card a white buffalo? You know that's not a buffalo. It's a bison. Yes, I know that. But do you know how many of the American public don't know that it's a bison? Or think that bison and buffalo are the same? They're not, but they have the same origins. Well, our bison can be traced back to the Asian buffalo from, the dawn of the millennia, way back when, And so I put it on the card because that's what most people, especially this cracks me up, especially in the spiritual kind of realms listen, I'm not dogging on anybody's religion or faith. I'm just saying that when Bernadette says spiritual, what she's talking about is really the conglomeration of people who believe in chakras and crystals and energetic this and this, that, and the other. That's what I'm talking about, right? So hey, Melinda Fern. And so I know that. But the animals told me they don't care. They don't care what you call them. They really don't. They care that you know them and you love them and you get in deep relationship with them. And over time, you'll get hip to their right names. Or actually, okay, I'm just going to be honest. Actually, what they told me was, we don't care about names. We don't name ourselves that. It's not like that. So we don't really care what you call us. You just do it for you. So it's because that's what you need in your language. But in animal language, it's about the smell. It's about the touch. It's about the taste. It's about what their natural instincts are. So when I was looking through, man, I just couldn't. Ooh, I was like, come on, y'all, come on, y'all, come on, y'all, come on, y'all. When I was looking to see who was going to be the Ace of Pentacles, I don't know why I didn't hear this to begin with, but it has to be white buffalo, white bison. Why? Because of the story of the white buffalo calf woman. And that's if you don't know it, look it up, but it's this really beautiful story about this, Native American who died and reemerged as a white buffalo. And certainly the Native Americans have always honored the bison, the buffalo, or as they call it, Tatanka. No joke, they really do. And that's not just from the Kevin Costner movie. I can't watch that movie, y'all. I can't stand it. It breaks my heart every time. So, but, listen, that was big goings on. Those hunts, the ritual dances, the prayers, the ceremonies, the thanking the animal for what they sacrificed, so on and so forth. And so, of course, white buffalo had to be abundance. Now, when you just take a look at white buffalo, or any bison, really, in terms of what it means, is as a spirit totem and power animal, in the system that the animal allies downloaded into me, just very briefly again, a spirit animal is the animal that shows up in your hour of need to support you, to strengthen you, to inspire you, maybe to do some healing work. Your totem animal is who you are, which begins with your birth totem, which is your zodiac sign. Even if you're Libra, that means all of the animals who mean balance, which is generally dual colored animals, zebras, pandas, that kind of thing. And by the way, y'all, Panda is working. He's got this job, and so he can't be with us in the morning. But that's why he wanted me to tell everybody that's why he couldn't be here. So then, if you want to work with your power animal, we talk about and again, I thank my friend Catherine Skaggs for this. We don't invoke the animal from inside of us. We actually are that animal, and we step outside of that animal for a moment to be human. But we always have the power of that animal because we are that animal. So if you are particularly, if you resonate with buffalo, maybe you feel depleted. Maybe you're carrying difficult burdens. Maybe you're just like, oh my God, how am I going to pay my bills? I got to get a job. I don't know what to do. I don't want to do this anymore. But it's really, at the end of the day, this is the animal that teaches you to release unnecessary emotional burdens and mental burdens and things that just are not yours to carry. They were never meant for you. You don't have to do it. That's not to say you should just divest yourself of any responsibilities that you've agreed to, but there are better ways to go about what it is that you want to do. Now, again, buffalo and bison, they're interchangeable as far as the American public, but to other cultures, they're not. To other cultures, they're very specific. Like, do not tell an Australian that they've got an opossum. They don't. They have a possum, and they get riled up about that. I don't know what the Asian culture thinks about bison versus buffalo, but every time a bison or a buffalo comes up in someone's reading, I know immediately there are identity issues going on. Who do you want to be? Why are you not being the person you want to be? Who around you is showing inauthenticity? Who's wearing a mask? Are you wearing a mask? All of those kinds of things, right? Oh, and let me also just say, for Zodiac, the Gemini twins are humans, generally speaking, and Virgo is a human. Now, I equate that also so that there are actually two human spirit animals in the Zodiac. But virgins, which is the Virgo, I equate to baby animals, and the Gemini twins, I relate to actual animal twins, whichever ones they are. If they're twins, they're twins. That's it. It doesn't matter if you're a barracuda or you are a tsetse fly. It doesn't matter. If you're a twin, you're a twin, right? Okay. But the iconic buffalo, the iconic bison, again, it's so root chakra based. It's about manifesting your desires, the earth element, bravery, kindness, strength, respect. Now, I mentioned kindness, and here's why. Early on, when I was a different person, because we're all a different person. I'm a different person than I was 2 seconds before I said, Barracuda! You're a different person right now. And right now, you're a different person. Okay, so it is, I questioned at the very beginning how a buffalo or a bison, because it's so deeply connected to the root chakra, how could that be related to kindness? Wouldn't that be your throat chakra? Or for sure it would be your heart chakra, right? Well, sure. Of course it is. But sometimes it takes an awful lot of strength to show kindness. It really does. Well, to me anyway. It may not. It may not take y'all anything, but sometimes Mama Bear got to take a reset. I just got to be like, okay, let it go, Bernadette. And I let it go. I release it. And I do release now from the root chakra. As wrong as that sounds, it's really, oh, now my face is red. Now my face looks like the root chakra. As wrong as that sounds, it is so right. So that's something that I would encourage you to think about is kindness. But that also means loving kindness to yourself, which is really the most important, which again goes back to fear. Fear of not being good enough, fear of not being accepted, fear of being left out of the herd, cut out of the herd, fear of being alone, fear of being abandoned. Fear. You get where I'm going with this, y'all? Okay. So when Buffalo comes to you, I'm telling you that all animals have their own strength, but because buffalo is such an iconic animal in terms of spirituality, in particular in indigenous culture, of Native American, uh, it's got a big presence, a really big presence. And so, you know, again, in speaking of that presence, buffalo are big, y'all. I don't know if you've ever seen the picture. Yeah, I'll put it up. Yeah, it's right there. So, that's me with cowboy, the buffalo, the American bison. I'm a big girl. He may not look that big to you, but his head is the size of a Ford Maverick that I owned when I was a kid. My very first car was a Ford Maverick. I'm telling you, his head's as big as Ford Maverick. And buffalo or cowboy loved him some apples. Unfortunately, he has gone to the Great Plains in the sky. Poor guy, he just got too old, and he was like, "I'm out." And just as a side note, do you know what it takes to bury a buffalo, a bison? Great googly moogly. You have to haul, you got to have a back hauler and it was amazing. But and not to be a downer for this morning, but it. Let me just say this: if I'm doing a reading and buffalo shows up, sometimes I'm very alerted to the bigger they are, the harder they fall. Sometimes that's part of that message. Not overall, but because of the sheer girth of a buffalo or a bison, it's certainly that, their symbolism their symbolic meaning can certainly be about that. But again, it's about that largesse of presence. And so always when buffalo or bison comes out for somebody as a spirit totem or power animal, I'm always like, and that's where the intuitive tarot part comes in. I'll either know that they are being too showy, too mouthy, too whatever, and they're fitting to get themselves in problems. Or, and yes, I said fitting to get, because that's what we say here in the South. And because I'm not I do declare kind of Southerner. I got the vapors. I'm not that kind of Southerner. And so, or they're afraid to show up in the world. Now, I see that a lot with people that do, you know, readings and healings and that kind of thing. And they want to take what they're doing to a different level, but they're just afraid to step out, right? They're scared. And I get that, but that's a root chakra issue, which you can definitely work with white buffalo or any color buffalo, really, to work with that. Now, if buffalo shows up as your spirit animal, it'll usually lumber or thunder in as your spirit animal. End of story. It is time for you to spend some time working with the subject of subjects of abundance and prosperity, and that's where the third half of this is going to go. I've done a Sunday ceremony for you all where there's a meditation that is a beginning meditation about abundance and prosperity and that kind of thing. But when buffalo or bison comes in, that's an alert that it is a huge thing, and that you are either hugely one way or the other. I'm learning about, I told y'all I was learning about investing. It's taking me a while. I'd much rather talk to dead people. I'm such an artist. I'm such a creative. I look at those numbers and my eyes just roll around in my head and die in opposite directions, like in the cartoons. So, or all. Have y'all ever seen the movie Mr. Deeds with Adam Sandler? In that movie, for Steve Buscemi plays this guy, and he's got these googly eyes. That's what my eyes look like when I try to do math. So go watch Mr. Deeds. It's like every Adam Sandler movie. It's base and hilarious. Not all of his movies are hilarious, but anyway, I digress. Okay, so here we go. So here, I will tell you this though. If oh my gosh, see y'all. Oh my gosh, that's exactly how it happens. I totally forgot that in Evelyn's book, She's the first one to hit me to this, but it makes total sense to me. In Evelyn's book, the root chakra is the chakra of laughter. And I was like, in my head, while I'm talking the words about a funny movie about Adam Sandler and Steve Buscemi's googly eyes, I'm like, why am I saying this? I'm not even consciously what? And it just kept coming out. That was going on in my head, y'all, to lead you to the laughter. Dirt. Okay, let me just say this. Ooh, I love it when spirit works like this. Ooh, I love it. Okay. Ooh. Gotta have a rattle on that one. And my little baby rattle that Catherine Skaggs sent me. I just love it. She sent it to me as a gift with my drum. So here's the thing. So when buffalo or bison shows up, there are big abundance and prosperity issues. Part of that could be wrapped up in joy. You know, it's no dang fun to think, man, if I don't outrun the boogity scary boogeyman in my closet in the dark, I'm gonna die. I won't be able to survive. And that's the thought process, the imprinting that I've carried forward as a child. Now that I know it, you know what? I'm gonna walk everywhere in the dark because I'm still not so fond of the dark. Crazily enough, you drop me in the woods somewhere in the dark, I'm all about it. It can be pitch black dark as midnight. I got that. I got it. I can see it. I can hear it. I can smell it. Oh, yes. Maybe not like a jaguar can, not like a buffalo can, because y'all buffaloes have the worst eyesight. They are nearsighted. They got to get right up on something to be able to see it. Or no, nearsighted means you can't see far away. Well, yeah, they got to get right up on something to be able to see it. And but boy, they can smell like the dickens. Their olfactory senses are no joke. All of this is coming full circle. I just have so much to share with you all about buffalo. It's like it's just, as a spirit totem and power animal, it's so powerful. So here we go. So when you are taking a look at your abundance, especially if you're using or working with my deck, the Arcanimal Spirit and the Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle deck, and bison comes out to you as the Ace of Pentacles, it can be about all kinds of abundance. It can be all about money. Yes, it can. But really, it's what are your blocks to whatever abundance you want. And a lot of that may have to do with self-love. Because how do you really describe that? How do you measure that or make that okay for each person? Smarter people than me are going to have to tell y'all how to do that because I got nothing, right? In my family, we never really thought too much about it. We just had to get up and get going. Because if you didn't, that was it. End game, right? End game. So we didn't really give too much thought to emotion, which is hard when you are such a water sign like I am. And my mom, also Scorpio. Crazy nonsense. So having said that, let me say this. The other reason that buffalo or bison might come to you as a spirit animal is they're herd animals. And I always find that, oh, wait, sorry, let me get back to the investing thing. This is very important. Spirit wanted me to show you this. They just showed me coin in my head again. So I'm learning about investing. And I'm learning about this thing where people actually borrow money. I think it's called leveraged trading. They borrow money based on what they think a market is going to do. Okay, I'm not a risk-averse person, but I'd rather take that money and take my shot in Vegas or something. I absolutely know there are lots of people very successful at that. But borrowing money, sometimes triple, quadruple, 5 times, borrowing that based on what you think an asset is going to do, you know, the futures of it, and you got to pay it back by a certain time. And if you're wrong, it's like being at the track, man, which, by the way, I can't stand. Horse racing, don't get me started. I wouldn't do it, but that is the overabundance thing in the root chakra and with buffalo or bison. It would be like, you know, if in the Native American culture, they had just slept in that morning and not sent scouts out and, you know, not known where they were, that the whole tribe would have starved. It would have been bad news, right? Okay, so you can have an overabundance of abundance thinking, which is really based in a non-reality or based on an ego or based on whatever, or you can have the opposite of that, which is you're living in a place of fear. But abundance, again, can be about anything. And I really, really encourage you all, anybody that's listening to this reading today or listening to this or watching this video about this, you know, about the symbolism and meanings of The omens, the messages, the energy surrounding buffalo and bison. This is meant for you in this moment. That's that. And when you talk about the herd thing, that's got to be about working together. And that's got to be about your tribe and your herd or your flock or your clutch or your whatever. And you're going to have to change who you are to get to where you want. Here's what that means. When people talk a lot about healing, man, I've avoided it for years. Avoided it like the plague. Oh, that's funny. The juxtaposition, it's like jumbo shrimp. Okay, but I'm called to do it because that's some of the core work that the spirit, totem, and power animals do with us. That's some of the core of what they offer us in terms of relationship. And while they're healing us, we're helping them in this reality, in this world. Because I know that you all are animal lovers and you do good for animals every day in every way, right? Of course you do. Hold on, y'all. Man, I'm the psychic part of me and the mediumship. I got electricity running through my body like you don't even know. Sweet bejeebus. So, all of that said, it can be very easy to fall back on, I'm independent, I got to do it myself. I'm afraid, I don't want to ask, I don't like asking people for help. Why don't you like that? Why don't you like that? What core belief do you have that prohibits you for asking for help? And what's and if you're like, nope, I don't care what anybody says, I'm just not a person that's ever going to ask for help. Okay. Then what happened that you got yourself in a situation that you can't handle on your own? Or if you try to handle it on your own, it's going to go not so great. You got to ask yourself about that too. So that's why I'm really grateful that you guys care about Wednesdays, Healing Wednesdays, because as a reader, as a shamanic practitioner, okay, I guess I really have to step into owning that, of course, all the metaphysical work and all the new age or spiritual work that I've done over the years, of course, it's all the root of it, the root chakra of it is healing. I mean, of course it is. That makes total sense, right? Okay. So it's about really examining that. Now, if buffalo comes to you as a totem animal, well, in the Native American Zodiac, there is a buffalo as a zodiac sign, and there are people who will argue that the Native Americans never had a zodiac sign, and that's a Western culture thing that was, appropriated so somebody could make some money somewhere. I don't know the total origins of that. I have spent a long time looking into it. The very first thing I ever read about it was from Sun Bear and Woburn Moon, and that was way back in the 80s or late 70s or mid 80s or something. And I grew up in Ocala, Florida, y'all. I happen to be very close friends with people who are of just a direct Native American lineage, period. Like, nobody in their family has ever stepped outside that, and the whole line is just slap straight up Native American that they know of. Doesn't bother them one bit. And they have animals that they have ascribed to the cardinal directions. They have animals that they have ascribed to the seasons, and they do in their own language, in each tribe, in each, culture, they do have, to the best of my understanding. Now, I haven't talked to every person from every tribe, and I don't care what I read. I got to know it for myself, unless I know that I know that I know that the source is like, authentic. So, having said that, they do give animal names to certain personalities, and they do take note of people that are born in certain seasons and then the cycles and all of that. So, they may not have invented the Native American Zodiac, but they kind of did, if that makes sense. Anyway, where I'm going with that is this. Your totem animal your birth totem animal, I contend, there are people that will absolutely argue this, but I contend, and there's no right or there's no wrong, right? It's just that spirit downloaded into me the animals that spirit animals mean one thing, totem animals mean this thing, and power animals mean another thing. They really don't. All of those phrases are interchangeable culture to culture, just depending on what they mean, but it can get really confusing. And so that's why spirit wanted me to start this, this kind of work. So you may be a Leo, you may be a lion, but if you super identify with the traits of buffalo, the physical characteristics, the temperament, the this, the that, or you've just always been obsessed with them or fascinated by them, like I am with bears, then poof, that's your totem. But that's going to say a lot about you as a person, right? It's going to say that you are. You've got to drive, and you do find the sacred moments in throughout every day, and you are really great at trying to save people and working with endangered people. And that can be people that, you know, have a drug and alcohol problem, that can be people that have a psychological problem, a physical problem, a this you know, challenges of any kind, financial problems. You're like always wanting to support them, you're always wanting to help them, and you do it no matter what. You may have a really big presence, but you can step very gently through when you're helping people like this. And if you're trying to help people manifest, or you're actually a great manifester, buffalo bison could easily be your totem. And you are a really highly self-actualized person. Let me just put it that way. You're a self-actualized person. Now, if a buffalo or bison come, you know, if you want to work with that animal as a power animal, or you've done a ceremony, a ritual, a meditation, or whatever to figure out which power animal you need to be working with, sweet bejeebus. That could be a million reasons, but I'll tell you now, it's for whatever you need to or want to turn into a reality, whatever you want to manifest. And that could be standing up for yourself, standing up for a cause, even if, you know, in the face of adversity, using your power wisely. If you've got power, um, you know, let me tell you something. I think this is super fascinating about buffalo and bison, is that you can tell their mood by their tails. I don't know why I would have never thought that about a buffalo or a bison, but just like with a cat or a squirrel, or for sure a dog, if their tails are down, it's not the same subservience thing that we observe in dogs, right? Or the fear that we observe in cats when their tails are tucked up under them. They're relaxed and they're fine. It's when their tails stand straight up. Run, Forrest, run! Because that's the other thing, y'all. They move fast. For something so humongous, they can run like the wind. Ask the person who ran out of apples when she was in the pen feeding Cowboy the apples, and we ran out. Everybody's lifetime flashed in front of my eyes. I was like, uh-oh. It was not a fun moment. It's funny now. It wasn't funny then. But here's the thing. If you are working with buffalo or bison as your spirit animal, that could be when you need to move strong and move fast. Move strong and move fast. Make big moves and make them quickly. That's another thing. The other thing that buffalo does, that bison does, and this may be, you know, one of the biggest, is it gives you the power to say no. I think like no other animal. That's just me. It might mean something else to you, but saying no takes courage. And what that means is, let's say somebody calls you and wants you to go out to lunch. You don't have anything on your calendar. You're like, dang, I'm so sorry. I've got this on my calendar. I've got, you know, all of a sudden we're making all of these excuses. You don't have to say no, but is it more genuine? Is it more authentic to just say, you know, I really appreciate the invitation. That is not going to be doable for me, but I hope you'll remember me the next time, if you want them to remember you the next time. You don't have to come out flat out and say no, but for some reason, lots of people have a real hard time doing that. The other thing that I love about having to do with that is, for when you talk about buffalo and bison, you know, is both the males and the females have horns. And I just think that makes it awesome when you want to talk about having the power, having the balance in a root chakra of the masculine and feminine energies. Love it. I just love it. And remember, all horned animals, a horn, a tusk, antlers, antenna, that's always that other stronger connection, more clear connection to the divine, to carry the messages from heaven down, which is always super appropriate for a Wednesday, right? Because this is the bridge day. All right, so having said, and the solar plexus chakra is the chakra of today. Okay, so, and that's all I got to say about that, about buffalo and bison, or we'll be here all day because I just love them. All right, so now we're going to move on to the Ace of Pentacles. And when we are deep diving into the traditional tarot card meanings of the Ace of Pentacles, again, we could be here all day because it is, okay, y'all, I'm having to cover up the chat because y'all are just having, I'm looking here real quick. Y'all are having too much fun. And again, thank you for anybody who has stayed with us. It's probably like 10 of y'all that have stayed in this long, but I'm doing what I was told to do. So when you take a look at the Ace of Pentacles, obviously, if it's upright, well, just so you know, its element is Earth, which makes it zodiac signs that are connected to the Ace of Pentacles: Capricorn, Taurus, and Virgo, the Earth signs. And again, you know, I make a little advice on my site about what crystals can really help work to activate, you know, and strengthen the Ace of Pentacles energy: amethyst, bloodstone, emerald. But it really can be any crystal that you want to work with in terms of prosperity, tapping into your own divine gifts, which is basically your psychic abilities, your healing abilities, that kind of thing. And then we'll get to the Ace of Pentacles inverted in just a minute. But taking a little bit deeper dive, if you take a look at the traditional Ace of Pentacles, and you see the symbolism, the hand coming out of the clouds, the sky is very blue. You know, you've got this beautiful arch at the bottom with this golden pathway leading through it to these beautiful blue mountains in the back. You've got the flowers in the forefront, and then you've got all the radiance coming from that golden coin, that that pentacle. This is just such an energizing card that when people are feeling sluggish, when they're like, yeah, I'm like, go sleep with go put the Ace of Pentacles under your pillow. It's a great root chakra activation. Now, all of that said, one of the most important things in terms of the Ace of Pentacles, even if you stay away from intuitive things and you're focusing specifically on the hardcore tarot meanings of it, right? It's about life. It's about new beginnings, which is what all the aces are about in the tarot. It is, and again, remember, I'm working with the Rider-Waite-Smith tarot deck, that symbolism, that meaning, that whole system of tarot. And new beginnings can be super beautiful. And this one's especially because it does portend of prosperity and happiness. That said, it's very much like, well, okay, how do I gain all of that? Well, it's going to start with you planting the seed, tending the crop, and then letting that crop bear the fruit. This is one of my favorite things when people say this to me. Well, I'm so proud of myself. And I'm like, I'm always proud of you. What are you proud of yourself about today? Because I really am always proud of everybody. Y'all, just to get through a day in this world, it's hard. Most of us go through just things every day where we should be curled up in the fetal position. Hold on. See, every time I look at a tarot card, my spidey senses start to flow, and I'm like, the electricity goes crazy. All right. Okay, so, I'm like, well, what are you proud of? And they're like, I finally learned how to let go and let God, or I finally figured out how to just surrender. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. That is such a fallacy. This is going to trigger some of you, and it's just my opinion. My ultimate opinion on this, because I'm fixing to give you opinion, which is not a fact, is that whatever is true for you is literally true for you, because I really do believe we create our own reality. The problem is we don't really always understand or recognize that we're doing that. Yes, I started using the understand word again because Joel so wisely pointed out that the actual etymology of the word has nothing to do with standing under. That's a more modern interpretation. Okay. So Thank you, Mystic. Thank you for the donation. I really appreciate that. You know, y'all, I never ask for donations, but I do appreciate them very much when they show up. Yes, I do appreciate them, but mostly because I give 50% of all donations that I get on my channel. They go to the animal charities that I support, which, just in case you're just joining us, welcome. And I support charities that fight to prevent cruelty to animals. So so thank you very much, Mystic. So all of that said, when people talk about surrendering, you didn't surrender to anybody other than yourself, and it's impossible to surrender to yourself because you are always in your unconscious thinking about what you want, what you don't have, why you can't have this, how to get this, how to do that. It's impossible. So it wouldn't a much quicker, easier, less frustrating way to be just to set intentions and go on about your merry business, which is what the Ace of Pentacles will teach you. That it's incumbent upon you to plant your own seed. Oh, that reminds me. Ooh, isn't it Heart that sings a "I'm the flower, you're the seed. I walked in a garden." I can't wail her voice right now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. All I want to do is make love to you. You guys remember that song? I've got it playing in my head. That song. I don't know why that song reminds me of this card. But it is, I'm pretty sure Heart sang that song. And nobody can sing like them. Sweet, good Lord. Okay. So, I would say, right, Cherry B, love me some Heart. So, all of that said, when you're working with the Ace of Pentacles, I'm gonna summarize this, is that it is about your most divine gifts, which can have to do with psychic senses, clairvoyance, mediumship, healing, that kind of thing. But there are other divine gifts. Have you ever wondered why you grew up in a challenged family and the people across the street, you know, they might have been the Clampetts come to, you know, Beverly Hills. They might have been the Beverly Hillbillies, but, you know, they lived in Beverly Hills. And when you're a poor kid, you know, it doesn't matter what's going on behind closed doors. You know, they don't have to worry about food when you're a child. In juxtaposition to that, if you're a super wealthy child and you've got a crappy home life, you may look at the poor kids, you know, across the street and just, you know, they play and they laugh all day and you're like, oh my gosh, why can't I have that? It's that kind of thing. Whatever is a divine gift for you, it's time to have more of it. It's time to plant your seed. It's time to tend your crop. Now, having said that, let me say this. When we go to want to create abundance or we consider abundance, we always think that there's some kind of secret. People are always asking me in readings. They don't know they're asking this, but really what they're asking me, they're saying is, I want this outcome. What's my silver bullet to make this outcome? Every single solitary day of my life, every day, around the clock, but in especially from 11 p.m. my time, 10 p.m., 11 p.m. my time, till about 2:30 or 3 o'clock in the morning, my phone is off. The only I have emergency ringtones and my phone set to who, if it's an emergency, they've got their own ringtone and they'll come through even if I've got my sound down. And you can do that if you didn't know. If you have an iPhone, you can do that. Because if not, my phone will ring off the hook. And it's people calling me wanting to know if I do love spells. Every day, y'all. No joke. Every single day. Hi, are you the psychic? Yeah, I am. I'm the psychic. I always answer like that. No, I'm not the psychic. Like, I'm a psychic. What you need? And they'll say, do you do spells? I mean, they're whispering in their phone. Do you do spell work? I'm like, why are you whispering? And I'm like, it's just us on the line in spirit. And I'm like, no, I don't do spell work and I don't suggest you do it either. Why is that? I said, and I get it right 98% of the time. You want a love spell, don't you? Sometimes it's fertility spells. Sometimes it's other spells. The reason I'm going into all this as it goes to the Ace of Pentacles is there's a fair amount of you out there that watch me and are involved in my communities that are pagan, Wiccan, witchcraft. You follow that path. And so I know that you do spell work. And for those of you that are doing mantras or affirmations or whatever, it's no different. The energy behind your label for it or your whatever for it, your intention or what you're working with, you may think is different, but it's all trying to achieve the same end result. And to get the results that you want, like an Ace of Pentacles would portend, right? It's all about making sure that you're doing it in the right way. Well, if you want to cast a love spell on somebody, that either means that they're stalking you, You want to get them to stop stalking you, which is not really love, it's obsession. What was that fragrance? There's a thin line between love and obsession. Whatever that was. Oh, I think it was called Obsession. Dirt, Bernadette. Or you want them to love you and you're trying to exert your will over somebody. That will go badly every single time. So when you're manifesting, when you're doing spell work, when you're this, when you're that, don't do it. Don't try to exert your will over somebody. It will go very, very badly. Did any of you all see the movie Pet Sematary? That's how it can go badly. Okay, it maybe not to that extreme, but who knows, right? Okay, and don't watch Pet Sematary if you've ever, unless you're a horror movie fan. It's such a trigger movie. Don't watch it. But having said that, let me say this: when the Ace of Pentacles tarot card comes upright in a meaning, it's more of the same of the traditional symbolism of the Ace of Pentacles, but it's more because it's specifically set in a reading. So the hand of God that you see coming out, that yellow brick road, that street lined with gold, the archway full of luscious green, and everything's healthy and it's abundant, and it's leading out to the mountains, which mountains always mean higher spirituality, ascension for your spirit. There's just good news. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great day, right? Okay. And that's going to be awesome. As long as the intention, the seed, it starts with a healthy seed. It starts with healthy soil. They tend it healthily, right? You or your client, you tend to, you don't overwater it. You don't underwater it. You just, that's just right? Okay. So the other thing is I see the Ace of Pentacles come out quite a bit when people are really concerned about their future. And it's always a good sign, a good omen for somebody's future prediction. Oh, you know what? Let me tell you guys something, by the way. Somebody wrote me the other day and they were just so offended that somebody had called them a fortune teller. They're a tarot reader. They're not a fortune teller. Miss Cleo said she was a psychic. She said she had a psychic hotline. Look how that worked out. That doesn't make you not a psychic. Psychics all over the world have a bad rap. That doesn't make you not a psychic. In other parts of the world, being called a fortune teller, it's said with great esteem. And so please don't freak out if someone calls you a fortune teller. They may mean it as a diss, but they may not. They may just not be hip to whatever else. That may be how they equate, what you can do in their mind. It's not always a diss, right? Okay, I just want to say that because it just came up in a big way this past week. So anyway, again, it is, even if you go back to Maslow's hierarchy of needs, and you go back to, again, the root chakra, and you go from all the spectrum on that scale of what you need as as your needs become this, or your needs, it's totally relatable to the chakras, totally related to, really, I think, the tarot. And let me just say it this way. The Ace of Pentacles is also a call to learn. It's a call for you to gather wisdom. And also it's a call for you to disseminate your wisdom, to share your wisdom. Let's say that you've got somebody who needs something. Well, it might be very easy for you to go over and get what they need, or fix what needs fix whatever's broken. But what are they going to do the next time? Wouldn't it be better if they were receptive to learning how to do it themselves and you taught them? Because it's that proverb, right? Give a man a fish and he'll eat for a day. If you teach him how to fish, he feeds himself for a lifetime. Hopefully he's fishing for tofu, but I'm teasing. So I really am teasing. So, the other thing that I will tell you is you can't feed anybody from a dry well. And because the Ace of Pentacles is very closely associated with the root chakra, I would really encourage you to make sure that that also might be a call. If you get that for yourself or somebody else in a reading, then you could maybe use a little more stability. Now, if you see the Ace of Pentacles inverted in a reading, and let me also say this. People email me all the time about this too. And I mean, I love hearing what y'all do. I learn so much when y'all send your emails and your messages and whatever. I do, and I appreciate it. I laugh. Just so you know, I laugh when people tell me what I should and shouldn't be doing, and how I should do this, or I should form an email, or I should read like this, or I should include this, or I shouldn't be doing that. That's my favorite. I love this more than anything, and I'm really actually being serious. And you know why? Because sometimes they're right. And sometimes they give me better ideas than the people that are pussyfooting around and, trying to make suggestions when what they really want to say is XYZ. Having said that, and it teaches me patience, something I've never had very much of. So, some people don't read with inverted cards. I do. And the reason that I do is I'm an intuitive reader. Even if a card comes up right, and in theory, that's going to mean the best possible outcome. Even if it's like the Five of Pentacles, which is the dark night of the soul. Wow, my Lord. People ask me all the time what my least favorite card is. Let me just tell you straight up. It is the Five of Pentacles. That card and I, we don't like each other so much. We're trying to be neighbors, living with bad neighbors with each other. That card doesn't like me much either. But it's like that. It's like, some things are just not great, no matter how you slice it. And wouldn't you rather know than not know? Like, wouldn't you rather be forewarned or forearmed, or have an aha moment? I mean, I've seen clients have some of the biggest leaps forward in everything in their life when they, when they have inverted cards that are super important to them. Once, and it's only ever happened once. It didn't matter how I shuffled my deck. It did not matter. I couldn't believe it mathematically. If we'd have been in Vegas, we'd have all been millionaires by now. Because the odds of this were literally like winning the lotto. We spent 45 minutes on what was supposed to be just flipping a few cards for a friend. 45 minutes. I shuffled the deck probably 24 times. Can't even tell you how many cards I flipped. Every single one of them were inverted. So finally, I looked at my friend and I said, all right, look, we're friends, and you didn't give me permission to deep dive, but do you give me permission to deep dive? This person said, at this point, I have no other choice. They had a secret they were keeping. My heart broke into 50,000 million pieces for this person, and they were trying to shoulder it all, handle it all, deal with it all themselves. There wasn't a chance on God's green earth that was achievable for any single human being. My heart broke for that person. So I read with inverted cards. And so when you do what you want to do, but for me intuitively, even if I pull an upright card, intuitively I'm going to know, okay, but I think it's the challenge of that card. I'm being told it's the this, right? Okay. When the Ace of Pentacles is reversed in a tarot card reading, all right, it's a big call to remind ourselves that whatever comes from the divine is unlimited, because you are the divine is you, and you are an unlimited resource. You're an ageless spirit. You are eternal. And in being eternal, what else could possibly be true except for it's unlimited? But we're not taught to think in terms of that. So you see, in that way, even when the Ace of Pentacles is reversed, its tarot card meanings actually are really inspiring, hopeful message, right? Okay. So all of that said, the challenge there is to use those gifts wisely. It's kind of like how I think of new money. People that have not had money and then got money. Not everybody's this way, but a lot of people don't know how to handle money. They get new money and they're like, now Jed's a millionaire. And man, the next thing you know, a year later is gone. Like gone, girl, gone. And conversely, some people may turn into somebody that they weren't, or maybe they actually were, but didn't feel they weren't empowered to be this person because they equated that with money. They turned into a complete and total jerk. I've watched that happen in front of my very eyes. So, y'all, just so you know, Should there ever come a day where I'm wealthy, I'm going to buy me one of those new Ford Maverick trucks, and I'm going to have it custom painted with chakras and spirit animal. No, I'm not really. But I will get it custom painted. Those colors they're just awful this year. But anyway, so there's an imbalance in your resources. Let's just cut to the chase about the inverted pentacles. Okay, the Ace of Pentacles. There's just, it's out of balance. Your sense of abundance, your sense of compassion, your sense of kindness, your sense of prosperity, what to do with it or what to do to get it, and again, especially if you're experiencing abundance, which may be real or it may not be. I've known people that bury their heads so far in the sand regarding what money they think they have. They think of credit cards as cash. Well, I have, $2,000 left to spend on my credit card. I'm not broke. Okay. Well, I'm sorry, what are you paying your electric bill out of again? Well, I'm going to put it on my credit card. You're broke. You can't afford that. Bernadette, and they'll look at me like, Bernadette, and I'm like, listen, I'm not a financial advisor. You're my friend, and you're calling me about something, and we're having a discussion. I'm telling you, as your friend. Anyway, there are people like that. Don't be that person. And also, I will say, I'm being called to tell you, I find that many people in the spiritual lane start to feel guilty at one point or the other that they're charging for their services. It's an exchange of energy, if you ask me, and people do, so I'm telling you. Money's not real. Money's not real. It's symbolic, but it's air. It doesn't mean anything unless we think it means something. It's not like a croissant or a roof over your head. It's not like wood or brick to build a house. It's not like that. It's fake, which makes it an energy. And the minute that I learned that, it didn't, to me, I was like, oh, I don't have to live in poverty anymore. And so I didn't. Okay, having said that, I will say that if you continue, when you see an inverted pentacle, and let's be clear, right now I'm talking about money, but as an intuitive reader, as a psychic, if this card comes up in a reading for somebody, it may not be about money at all. It may be only about the grass is greener on the other side. You're in a marriage, in a relationship, and you're like, ugh, this wham. You've got a list of things that's wrong with it or that you're not happy with. And then you see somebody else and you get engaged with them, not engaged like, if you like it, then you better put a ring on it. Not like that. Okay. It is, it's what you think is going to be better for you, more abundant for you, make you happier, make you more fulfilled, and you start skating around. It could be, the Ace of Pentacles could be about that. I got nothing to say about that. It's not for me to offer an opinion about that. It's up to you to decide if skating around is truly fulfilling you. Here's what I would offer as a perspective. I would offer that the amount of time that you spend being terrified that you're going to get busted is taking your energy and taking the sacred time that you have in this life and flushing it right down the toilet. Any time we spend in fear is exactly that. And fears are tough to overcome. Believe me when I tell you, this I know. But it could be so many things that you are feeling guilty about, that you're doing that are not in alignment with your personal ethics. They are not in alignment with natural law. Sometimes the Ace of Pentacles can be like that. And so if you don't read with inverted because you don't want that energy, okay, that's up to you how you do your readings. And my contention is, however you do your readings, that's the energy that's going to attract the people that come to you for a reading. People come to Mama Bear when they want for real, when they want to deep dive, when they're ready to do real change, real healing, real this, when they're ready to go from a place they just are miserable and can't do anymore to the place where they will not be miserable, but they do want to do. And so those are the kind, they always, like my friends who know me that are psychics, we don't talk about you know, readings with each other, that's a big psychic ethical no-no, and I just don't engage with people who do that. I shut them right down. I want to be there for you and hear your story. Please don't tell me anything about your clients. I don't respect that. And I'll tell them straight up, I don't respect that. I don't do it to my clients, and I don't do that, and I don't want to hear it. And so, so consequently, I'm surrounded by people who we're all the same way, but we do talk about things that happen. And a number of years ago, I called a friend of mine. I was like, listen, you've been a reader for 25 years longer than I have. I said, I think I'm doing something wrong. She said, why? I said, for any number of reasons, people cry their eyes out in my readings. And she's like, what, are you scaring them? What do you do? I'm like, of course it's my fault. I'm like, no, I'm not. It's just we uncover deep truths and they have these big realizations. And she goes, oh, they're not crying. They're purging. They're releasing. Oh, oh. And the minute I saw it for what it was, that, oh my goodness, I've even had people write me and thank me for all the crying. And they'll say, I didn't tell you this, but I haven't cried in 10 years. I haven't cried in whatever years. I haven't allowed myself to grieve. I haven't done. So everybody's got a different way that they read, and everybody's got a different way that they read tarot, and everybody, that Dawn, I love you. You love my opinion. I love anybody who loves my opinions. Oh, thank you. I, you know, again, you got to read the way you're called to read. I call the way I'm called to read, and it is working with the reversals of the tarot cards. So I hope that was helpful. I know we took a deep dive into 3 things today, but I hope those 3 things, once something is in you, it's in you. And that's why if something's in you and you don't want it in you, you got to get it out of you. And then you got to patch up the hole that it leaves. That's why they call it healing, right? Okay. Trust me, I'm a welder, just so you guys know. Quick story about Bernadette. This was hilarious. So for a short time in my life, I decided I didn't want to be in the entertainment business. I'd had it. I was done with those parents. But I didn't know what else to do. I didn't know. So I was on a photo shoot with one of my models in Texas. And I drove by this place called the River Oaks Plant House. And I about wrecked my car because, you know, that when you go to Disney or you go to the big theme parks, they have those giant animals sculpted out of bushes. Or you saw Edward Scissorhands. Okay, that's called topiaries. And some of them you do by sculpting the bushes, you know, with your saw. But some of them you make by welding pieces of wire together, rebar, all that kind of thing, to create the skeletal structure of an animal. And you pack it with sphagnum moss, you wrap it with fishing line, worst thing for the environment ever. And then you plug it with all kinds of planting things, creeping fig, you know, ficus repens, and then if you wanted to bloom in different places. That was it. I decided in that moment I was going to be in the topiary business. I never welded a day in my life. I didn't know anything about growing plants. But within a year, I was supplying Lowe's and Home Depot in 13 different states and another privately held nursery that had 32 locations in the north. I just created this monster. And my first ex-husband, God love him, he worked right along with me. He loved it. We both learned how to weld. So I'm a pretty good MIG welder, right? I can't do any other kind of welding, but I'm a pretty good MIG welder because to me it's just like hot gluing. You know, wire comes out of a thing, and you stick it between 2 things, and it all melts together. Poof, you've hot glued something, right? So what I didn't realize when I first worked with those is that this stuff called slag will come dripping out of that metal white hot, and if you're wearing shoes that aren't like some kind of steel reinforced, it'll burn right through the leather of whatever you're wearing, and it will go tss and leave a crater in your foot or your knee or about like you don't even know. So healing is like that. Something gets in you, it burns a crater in you, and you got to heal it up, right? Because don't let it be slag. I'm going to use that analogy, I'm going to start doing healing sessions, and I'm going to use that analogy in healing. But it hurts like the Dickens yell, and it hurts for a long time. I don't care how much Neosporin you've got. It hurts. Or aloe or anything, it hurts. So here's the story. For those of you all that hung in there with me today in the spirit animal allies and the tarot cards and all the archetypes and all the energy that was with your root chakra stuff today, I really appreciate you. I do. And I appreciate you for yourself because you are, you're ready. You're ready for whatever is happening. It's coming and you're ready. And for those of you that are watching this in the future or have watched any of my videos, the spirit animal videos, the tarot card readings, the zodiac readings, the this, the that, the whatever, I hope this was helpful to you too. I really, truly, truly do. So I am going to say good morning to everyone. I really wish Grandchar B, are you a welder? Because I just saw this. Does it ever hurt? That means you know, you above all people can know, and only those people that have had it happen can know the pain of slag dripping off your welding tip, cascading down in this beautiful fiery ball, right through your leather, right through your sock to your epidermis. Ouchie, ouchie, ouchie. Oh, Cherry B, you weld? What? I got welders up in here? In high school. Oh, there you go. Shop. Yeah, they didn't let me use the buzz saws or the radial arm saws or any of that in shop. I'm a welder. I'm not a sawer. I can't do the woodwork. It's not my thing. Only girl in your class. 80s. That's what I'm saying, sister. Okay. Or brother, or what? I don't even know. I don't know why I was led to call. Oh, because you said only girl in my class. I'm okay. All right. I love you all very much. I just want to say one more thing. Sorry. I'm going to announce this in some of my other videos, and it's taken me a while to be able to announce it, but I think I'm emotionally stable enough. Not that I'm not emotionally stable, but where I won't bawl my eyes out when I talk about it. For those of you all that call me Mama Bear, it might seem, well, of course, you know, she's an older gal, and she's kind of motherly, and she loves bears. Not everybody thinks that. Not everybody. But to me, it's the greatest compliment you could ever... Oh, I'm going to get choked up. It's the greatest compliment you could ever give me because my mom called herself Mama Bear. From the time I was a kid, she called herself Mama Bear. And my sister and I were her cubs. And until the day she died, that's what she said. So as far as I'm concerned, if I can be the same kind of mom to y'all that she was to me and my sister, I did okay in this lifetime. And I thank you for honoring me with that. So I'm going to have to go because I need the Ace of Pentacles. I lied to myself. I thought I was ready to say something that I wasn't ready to say. But anyway, I love you guys. I'm going to go get the red out of my eyes and get back on the book. So thank you so much. I'm going to leave the chat open for a while so y'all can say goodbye to each other and, you know, do whatever you want to go do. And Dawn, that's about true. When you go fishing with the wrong bait, you're probably going to catch something you don't want. That's for sure, dude. Or girl. I don't even know who you are, Dawn. But anyway, thank you guys very much. I'm so honored. Pick up your copy of the Arcanimal Tarot and Oracle deck. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Hit the ringy dingy bell thingy and get all the alerts. Subscribe to go to my free forums. All the marketing stuff. You got it. You get it. Good. And please, y'all, once again, though, please feel free and please do share the videos and whatnot across your social media. I would really appreciate it. And so would the animal allies. For right now, do good for animals, including yourself, and stay wild.